Hello, today we're going to work on a yoga practice specifically for dancers. So dancers tend to be hypermobile in certain joints and lack stability in others. So we're going to try to put in a practice some things to work on that for dancers. So I have Anthony here today who's going to be helping me out. So let's start by coming down to hands and knees. Many dancers have these hypermobile elbows. So we're going to target those specifically throughout the entire practice. So what I'm going to ask Anthony to do is take his inner elbows and without moving his fingers, turn his inner elbows in to face one another so that that eye of that inner elbow is looking at the opposite one. Now, it's one thing to maintain it and get it. It's another thing to be able to keep it going through other movement. So maintaining that exactly as is, go ahead and take a cow cat. So lift your chest, lift your tail, and then take the opposite of that movement, getting really broad across the collarbones. Good. Slowly and very mindfully continue to move through those two motions, maintaining that stability in the elbows. When we sort of dump into that joint and maintain that hypermobile part, then we're losing and lacking stability in the arms, and then that permeates through the rest of the body. This looks really good. Take one more of those. Breathing in, opening up broad across the collar, and emptying, exhale, pressing spine to sky. Good. Come back into neutral spine now, maintaining those elbows. Go ahead and extend your right leg back, tucking your toes behind you. Good. And really feel that length from the heel and continue to press it back. I know you'll feel that calf muscle. And out through the crown of the head in the other direction. And then don't forget about those elbows. Breath in, breath out. Maintaining, finding more and more length as you go. Breath in. And breath out. Just a couple more breaths here. And as you continue to build that, when you're correcting it and moving those elbows to face one another, you're actually utilizing muscles in the arms that you weren't using before because you were just kind of dumping bone onto bone. Good. Take one more breath. Now lift that leg behind you to the height of your hip. Cross it over the body and tuck the toes underneath you, planting that foot. Really good. Now, yes, maintaining those elbows. So he keeps checking, which is good. Look over the left shoulder at the right heel. You might not be able to see it, but this is a motion in the spine that is often ignored, but we can really stretch into the muscles of the back and send circulation all through the body by coming into this action. Good. Take one more breath. As you exhale, try to soften a little bit deeper into it. Good. Keep the elbows, come back into center, lift that leg to the height of the hip, and lower that knee down. Good. Go ahead and sit back and just roll your arms, your elbows a little bit. Just kind of coming off of those wrists just a little bit. It's hard work, right? It's hard work when you're doing it correctly. Good. Good. Let's make our way back and take the other side. So build the stability first. And then we're going to challenge that stability by adding all of this mobility in, okay? All right, take one more cow cat just to get kind of centered in the spine. Come to that neutral spine. Excellent. Let's take the left leg back behind you, tuck the toes under, and press back through that heel. At the same time, pulling long through the neck, through the crown of the head, really good. And you might even slide that foot a little bit closer to you so you can press back through the heel more and come a little bit deeper into that calf muscle that is probably really tight. In breath, out breath. Constantly checking in with those elbows. Trust me, you build this pattern in the body. It's tough in the beginning, but then it becomes more second nature as you learn to really activate those muscles in the arms and not just kind of dump into where you're really mobile. Lift that leg behind you, Cross it over the midline, tuck the toes on the ground, and then look over the right shoulder toward the left heel. Good, so we're lengthening through one side of the body, sort of compressing into one side of the body. Send your breath into that rib cage, opening it up and softening a little bit deeper into that lateral side bend. Really good, and checking in constantly with those elbows. Breath in. Breath out. Good. Inhale. Exhale. One more deep breath in. Lift the leg, bring it back into the midline. Release it down. Sit back on your heels. Let those wrists kind of roll out a little bit. Good. Excellent. Come back onto all fours. One more exercise in this position to really build that stability and help us get really strong in the core. So take another cow-cat just to get nice and centered into that spine, really kind of gluing that new elbow position into your body. Neutral spine. This time, tuck the right toes under behind you with that leg long extended. Yep, just like we did before. Now, keep the breath going in and out. So the breath is a good indicator of what's sort of going on in the body, so you want to put that ease right in it. Now, without changing anything in the body, I just want that left leg to go back and join the right leg in that position. Now, the leg you just brought in, bring it back down onto that knee, and then let the other leg come in. Good. So I want you to imagine that I'm putting a glass of wine right here on the back of the pelvis, or like a whole tray of glasses of water behind you, and you're really trying not to tilt the pelvis or disrupt any of that liquid. Okay, so now this time take the left foot back, tuck the toes under, without changing anything in that pelvis, allow the right leg to go back with it. Good, the leg you just brought out, take it in, and then bring the other leg in. Good, check back in with those elbows. We wanna make sure as the core activates, we don't start to sort of press into that hypermobility of the elbows. Okay, great, excellent, you're doing great. So I want you to connect this movement with breath so that you're inhaling the legs back and then exhaling as you draw them in. Don't get too hung up in which one goes out, which one goes in. Just moving through those positions, and go ahead as you're ready. Good, maintaining that idea that we have this tray of liquid on the back that we're trying not to disrupt. Continually utilizing the strength of the arms without just pressing into the hypermobility of that joint. Good, and you will find that it's actually quite difficult. You're doing a simple movement, but it is really difficult because you're imprinting something brand new into the body, and you're just going on pure strength instead of hypermobility. Good, do one more each side. These elbows look really good. It's excellent when you get into that shake and quake, that shake and bake moment where your muscles are shaking. You know you're building new patterns in there. Good, when you get nice and even, you can shift back into a child's pose. Excellent, really, really good. So reaching those arms forward, allowing the head to drop, and just letting the pelvis get nice and heavy over the heels. Good, couple breaths right there. Make your way into a downward facing dog. So pressing the palms down into the mat, tucking the toes under, taking the hips high. Now also as dancers, we tend to get really hypermobile in the knees as well. So that's another joint. I'm going to ask you not to lock the knees out and kind of dump into that joint. So asking Anthony to keep his knees really, really bent and drop your head nice and heavy. Good, so even in this position, thinking, are my elbow eyes facing one another, or am I just pressing into that hypermobility? Good, in breath, out breath. And we often work on straightening the limbs all the time in dance, but in your yoga practice, allow the joints to be soft, knees to be soft, and you'll find you can actually tilt the tail up and back a little bit more to get a little deeper into those hamstrings. Now walk your feet up to your hands and just folding forward, grabbing opposite elbow with opposite hand. This is a ragdoll position. And in this position, allow the knees to be bent. I know many dancers can be straight-legged here with the belly all the way folded over the thighs, but I'm asking you to soften the joints, soften the knees, and then you're going to get something very different in the low spine in your yoga practice. Good, release your elbows and very slowly come rolling up. This is a movement dancers are very familiar with, so let that feel really good, just rolling up bone by bone all the way to the top. Good, so go ahead and face front, Anthony, just to get into mountain pose. So in mountain pose, think about it as like a first position parallel, right? So our feet are right under the pelvis. Good, everything is stacked, nice and tall. Throughout your yoga practice, I really challenge you to work on this parallel position. All of the balancing postures, all of these movements, really finding this nice parallel position. We get enough practice in external rotation. We don't have to work on that in our yoga practice. So come back to facing this direction, and we'll take step to the front of the mat. Bring your hands to the center of your heart, just acknowledging that midline of the body. That's where we have the perfect point of balance in the body. Reach your arms up high and look up. And as dancers, be really careful here you don't kind of dump into that natural mobility in the low spine. So just thinking length instead of back bending. Bow forward all the way down, drop your head at the very bottom of that. Let the knees be soft all the way forward fold. Good, now bring your hands into the front of the legs and we'll take a halfway lift position. So hands come into the shins or at the knees, pull your sternum forward all the way, get really long here. And even here, let there be a soft bend in the knees so that you can draw the sternum forward even more. Take one more breath. Now maintain this spine. Don't forget about these elbows as we step back. Step back into a high push-up position. Plant your hands on the mat. Good. Step back. There you go. Good. Nice and long in the spine, thinking about those elbows. Good. Now drop your knees down to the mat and slowly lower down all the way down onto your stomach. Good. Now find an upward facing dog. Bring your hands under the shoulders. Lift your sternum up. Good. And you can even straighten your arms to your degree. Take a full breath in here. Release down, press back to child's pose. Return to downward facing dog. Good. Knees soft, elbows soft, tail up and back. Take a full breath in, look forward. Now, put your right foot up at your right thumb. Take a nice big lunge. Drop your back knee down onto the mat. Good. Come up long, reaching your arms up into the air. And if this bothers your back knee, feel free to shove a sweatshirt or fold your mat up and stick it underneath that knee. Bring your hands to the center of the heart. Now from here, we're going to twist. Take your left elbow across to your right thigh. Good. Start to breathe here. So we've created a lot of stability by dropping that back knee. Even if you have the strength in building that back knee, what I want you to find here is actually working on stability. With very mobile hips, often we can take all twisting action involving the hips. I want you instead to put some mobility into this mid-spine. Now bring your left hand down to the floor and reach your right arm up in the air and look to that upper thumb with your chin, taking that twist all the way up through that upper cervical spine. Take a deep breath in, return to downward facing dog. Good. And find that again, elbows, knees. What needs to be soft? What needs to be working? Now take your left foot and step it forward. Drop your back knee down to the floor. Reach your arms up overhead. Good. Now from here, just a little bit of action of tucking the tail under. Good. Yes, say hello to your hip flexor. With all the mobility we have as dancers, it's very easy to just like let the pelvis be in these lunges, but sometimes we need to actually pull ourselves out of the pose to get something a little bit deeper out of it. Good. Bring hands to center of the heart and take your twist to the other side. Good. Breath in. Breath out. You might notice one side feels a little bit different than the other. We have different organs, different everything on this side of the body, so just let it be where it is. Good. In breath. And out breath. Put your right hand down on the floor. Left arm reaches up in the air. Gaze at that upper thumb. Take a full deep breath in and downward facing dog. Very good. Good work. Now walk your feet forward to your hands. We'll take that halfway lift motion again, where you put your hands in your shins, find that length and let there be some bend in the knee just so you can get even more length in the spine. Fold forward and slowly roll up bone by bone by bone. Take your time, let it feel really good. Your yoga practice can be sort of a nurture to the body that you're using all the time as a dancer. So go ahead and face to the side in the front. Good. We'll work on tree pose, which surprisingly for dancers is not easy because we love to externally rotate that standing leg and we have a lot more balance on that. So in tree pose, which makes it so strange for dancers, one leg is parallel and one leg is externally rotated. But the beauty is, it's a really great opportunity to work on that neural pathway between the foot and the brain, and you can really work on stability of the ankle, which is a place we tend to get more injuries. So planting the right foot down, and even look at it and make sure it's pointing forward. Tell it to stay there. Stay there. And then we're actually going to start with a little bit of a kickstand. So externally rotating the left leg and turning it to the inside of the ankle. So go ahead and make that little kickstand there. And bring the hands to the heart, but be careful not to collapse in the chest at all. Stay really broad across the chest and imagine the crown of the head pressing up and allowing that right foot to press down. So think one leg is parallel, one leg is externally rotated. I always know when I'm teaching dancers because in tree pose, they externally rotate that bottom leg. So, okay, so maintaining this stability and this strength we have right here, being careful not to lock out that bottom leg. Take that foot to the inner calf of the standing leg. Good, good. And maintain control so that we're not pressing the foot so deeply up against that. We're rooting down, we're radiating up, we're opening up across the chest. The neck is long. Breath is deep. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Breathe in. Breathing out. Now we're going to move that leg up into the inner thigh if that's available to you. Try to keep it above or below the knee, just so we're being gentle to that joint. Really good. Same thing. Pressing down, radiating up, opening the chest out. The back is open, the chest is open, the neck is long. Good. Now let's interlace the thumbs up overhead and reach the hands high. Good. Again, we're challenging that stability that we built with mobility. And then last thing, lift your chin and look up at your thumbs. Don't worry if you fall. Look up, look up, look up, look up. Don't hold the breath. Good. And release it out. Nice job, right? Very quintessential yoga pose, but when you do it well, whoo, no joke, right? Yeah. All right, let's take the other side. So look at your feet first. Tell your foot, do not turn out. Be good. Good. Make the kickstand with that inner ankle. Great. Bring your hands to the chest, but even try this on. Take fingertips to fingertips. Sometimes that really helps me to keep my chest nice and broad in addition to bringing the hands to center. Good, good. So build the stability first. As dancers, we tend to just go right to the fullest expression of something, right? but start backwards. Pull back in your yoga poses. Pull back in your movement practices and go back to the basics. You can really build new movement patterns. Good, this looks really good. So thinking of down and up and out, and then bring the foot to the inner calf. Good, in breath. Out breath, find the down, find the up. And if your ankle starts to wobble, that's okay. That's stability being built. It's your brain getting information, your foot getting information, everything learning to work together and fire correctly. Nice and long in the neck, deep in the breath. And then if you want to bring that foot above the knee, you can feel free to do that, but we're pressing a nice parallel neutral foot down while the one leg is opening out. Breath deep, inhale. Exhale, shoulders soft, chest open, back is wide. Excellent. Reaching the arms overhead. This time, hook the thumbs the opposite way than you did the first time. This way will probably feel a little weirder. And then the icing on the cake, the challenge, lift your gaze up to those thumbs. Good, like a harder side, right? Yes, we all have those harder sides. Very good. Nice job. Good work. Okay, so come to face the front of the mat. Reach your arms up in the air and fold forward, bow. Normally we have a harder time balancing on that one foot that tends to be a little bit of a flatter foot. Good. Fold all the way forward. Take a halfway lift, nice and long in that spine. Good. A little bend in the knees helps that chest to come forward even more. And then plant the palm, step back to that high push-up again, thinking immediately about those elbows. Take an in breath. Stay there. Out breath, pressing back through the heels, forward through the chest. Inhale. Exhale. Take one more breath here. Press back to downward facing dog. Hips high, head really, really drops. Good. Stay there a couple more breaths. Inhale. And exhale. Now bring your feet together to touch behind you. Lift your right leg back behind you. And then pull the knee through, set the knee up behind the right wrist for a half pigeon pose. So planting that knee right behind the wrist, coming down. So we tend to have a lot of mobility as dancers, but our body, you'll find, will sort of start to sink that right cheek down onto the floor. So I want you to stay long in your arms to really find center here. Try tucking those toes under behind you to really get centered. And then kind of wiggle that right foot forward just a little bit to where you really feel this stretch, probably somewhere in the glute. Good, so once you're sure you have center there, maintain that and come on to the forearms. You might want to reach your arms all the way forward. You just want to go to where you feel this. But as dancers, we tend to be pretty mobile in the hips. So sometimes we can just sort of like go into these poses and not really feel them. But the tucking under of that back foot can be a really good tool to keep your legs nice and activated in the pose while you find some additional mobility and circulation in that place. Good. Come up onto long arms, press back to downward facing dog. Good, and then we'll switch sides. Take the left leg behind you, just finding some length. Pull the knee through, set it up behind the left wrist. Good. Come down, really find center. Tuck those back toes under. Find that activation of the back leg, just kind of keeping you honest of where that center line is. Maybe wiggle the left foot forward a bit, just finding where you need to go to feel that sensation. And then determining on this side, do you need to come to forearms? Do you need to lie forward? But be really careful that you're not shifting the weight over into that left side. Good. Come up onto long arms. Bring your back leg around to the front. So we're going to come to a seated position with our legs forward in front of us. Such a dancer, gets there the hardest way possible. We always overcomplicate things, don't we? Good. Okay, so let's take a butterfly stretch. So bring the bottoms of your feet together. Good. Sit up really tall, really tall. And now we tend to have more mobility to kind of round in the spine and come forward. I want you to maintain that nice long spine and just hinge forward. And you might not go forward very far, but just hinging forward. So in our yoga practice, a lot of people go to yoga for lots of different reasons, but more mobility is something that people go for. With dancers, though, we have a lot of mobility that we've been building our whole lives. So allowing your yoga practice to get at the places of the body where you're less mobile, or building stability in places where you're hypermobile, is a better thing to focus on in a yoga practice. Come up to a tall spine, take your legs forward in front of you. And even here, pretend you're standing on the floor. So the feet are flexed, toes are pointing forward, right? Reach your arms up in the air. Like we did in that rag doll though, I want you to allow the knees to be soft here as you fold forward. Bow all the way. You can grab a hold of the legs or the feet or whatever it is that you get. But allowing the knees to be soft, you're going to get something much different in your back in this posture. Really, really good. Come up to a tall spine and roll down onto your back. And from here, bend your knees, plant your feet. And with your mind's eye, so without looking, really feel that your toes are in a parallel position. So not externally rotating in the legs. Press down through your feet and lift your hips up. Good, so just a standard bridge pose. Notice here if you can soften in the glutes and find more of the mobility of the pose than it being really a stable pose. So try to even soften in the glutes. Take an in-breath here and roll down bone by bone all the way to the bottom. Good, so again, checking in with your mind's eye, making sure those feet are in a parallel position. Press your feet down and roll up into a bridge pose. Good. This time you might find, if you have mobility across the chest and in the shoulders, you might wiggle your hands together underneath you to interlace. Certainly not required of the pose, but it's something that you could do. Breath stays full. Inhale. Exhale. Breath in. Breath out. One more deep breath in here and slowly rolling down bone by bone. Once you do reach the bottom, bring the bottoms of your feet together like that butterfly pose, but this time in the supine position. Take a hand to your heart and a hand to your belly. Eyes closed, breath deep. Bring the feet back into a bridge position and take the arms out like a field goal post. Allow the hands to fall onto the floor. Good. Keeping your knees exactly, or your legs exactly in the position they're in, just allow your knees to fall to one side. Allow your gaze to go over the opposite shoulder. Now change sides, allowing the knees to fall to the other side and the gaze to go over the opposite shoulder. Good, so you may have found that tipping point where the shoulder wanted to lift off of the floor. Try to maintain shoulders down onto the floor. Come back into center. This time, take the right ankle over the left knee, almost like a little figure 4 there. And allow the knees to fall over to the side, gaze over the shoulder. Maintain shoulders to floor. Come back to center. Before we do the other side, reach down and grab that left thigh with your feet in this position and draw the thigh into the chest. Flex both feet back, toes to the shins. And while you draw the thigh to the chest, see if you can counteract that movement by putting a little arch in the back. Good, yeah, that really makes you feel the movement. Sometimes we have to activate muscles differently in order to feel things that people without hypermobility don't have to work so hard to find. Good, release back down into a bridge pose, so feet sort of the bridge position. This time take the left ankle over the right knee. Let the knees fall over to the side and gaze over the shoulder. Come back up into center, reach down, grab that thigh, draw it in. And then activate the stretch by flexing both feet back to the shins. Draw the thigh to the chest, and at the same time, try to put a little arch in the back. So we're just flattening the spine down onto the floor. Breath stays deep. And release it out. Good, go ahead and come up to a seat. So I invite you, when you go and you practice yoga, or you even do this practice on your own or other practices, think about where you can actually pull out of the yoga pose a little bit in order to find more stability, more strength, instead of just our hypermobility. Thanks, Anthony. That was very good.